Hello, Marcelo. Thank you so much for joining me today. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for inviting me. It's my pleasure to be here talking to you today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Tell me about your business. It's super fascinating. Iceberg Cultural Intelligence.
Exactly. It's Iceberg Cultural Intelligence. We are a firm that is focused on developing the skills in people so that they can interact with people from other cultures in a better way. Actually, we work with those companies that have a lot of international experience, and we help them to succeed in a global environment.
Okay.
And basically what we have done is to develop four different packages that are easy to understand for companies. The first one is the classic one. We work with expats. We work with those companies that have a lot of expatriations, and we help the expat to adapt easily in the new target country. But also, nowadays, most of the international corporations, the employees need to work with people from all over the world without necessarily traveling and living in a different country, because technology gives us this kind of possibility to be talking and interacting
Right.
as we were in the same place. So we have also developed a few programs for those global professionals. Those professionals don't necessarily go and travel to live in a different country, but still need to collaborate, need to deal, lead, communicate, negotiate with people that can be located anywhere in the world. And then we also work with global teams, which is pretty common nowadays to have your colleagues, your boss distributed in different countries, but still you need to be able to collaborate, be able to integrate your different perspective and function as one single team all together for the same place.
Very
This is
good.
basically what I do.
Very good. Now, what would you say is the specific problem that you solve for the people that you serve? Sounds like there's a couple, but what would you say is the specific problem?
Well, basically, most of the people are used and have the knowledge to be able to interact with people that are similar to them.
Okay.
And whenever it comes the chance of the opportunity to start working with somebody that have a different set of values or beliefs or perspectives towards leadership, communication, working, team building, and so on, they don't necessarily know how to adapt their working style. So this is basically what the service and the need I'm satisfying, and I'm helping them and giving them the clues and the knowledge so that they can understand how they need to adapt in order to not to lose their effectivity when they're interacting with people that are different to them. This is basically the main need. And it doesn't matter that you're going to be living or working or doing business or whatever, it's going to be your interaction. But the thing is, most of the cases, we feel comfortable when we have to work with people that are similar to us, that we need to speak the same language, that we have been raised in the same context, that we share certain traits and experiences and so on. But whenever we need to deal with people that are different from us, we don't necessarily know how to adapt ourselves. And this is the need that we are satisfying.
Okay, very good. And it's one that we all have, and increasingly, as we start to operate in a more global world, for business
Exactly.
purposes, it becomes even more necessary. So, what made you decide that you were going to be the one to solve the problem?
Well, it wasn't something that was so linear. I mean, it took me a few years. I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I actually, from the very beginning, I didn't know what exactly I wanted to do.
Okay.
And the only thing I was sure I wanted to do was to travel and live and had experience by myself to be living and working in different countries. And because of that, I had the chance of traveling and living and working in the US, in Mexico, and in Switzerland for a large period, at least a year. So after those experiences, and after discovering a side of me that was really keen to interact and deal with cultural diversity, and in a way it was easy for me to read in between the lines of what sort of differences I could find between people from different countries, made me start realizing that there might be some potential, some opportunities in this arena. And actually, when I was living in Switzerland, I discovered the concept of cross-cultural consulting. And when I came back to Argentina, I knew I was the right guy to start helping Argentinians and Latin America to have a a higher global mindset because of my experience, because I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, because I knew that I had some sort of skills of transmitting concept and maybe making people see the benefits of cultural diversity to make them excited about the possibility of working. Mm-hmm. And after a few years, I actually discovered that I was the right person to start working with this kind of stuff.
Very good. That's super awesome. Well, let's talk a little bit more about your experience as an entrepreneur, because you said that you knew that you wanted to be one. You realized that, yeah, you're the perfect person to do it, and you're very good at what you do, which is great. So what would you say overall, once you started the process, or even throughout your journey as an entrepreneur, was the biggest barrier in mindset that you experienced that limited your success in some way, and how did you overcome it?
Well, I believe there were many, but one thing that I remember, it was critical for me, and actually was a breaking point, an inflection point, I would say, is the selling part. Because to be a successful entrepreneur, you need to be able to sell. I mean, you need to be able, and you need to feel comfortable about selling, mm-hmm. because this is what you do. You need to sell your idea, you need to sell your product, your services, whatever you do. The selling part is part of being an entrepreneur. But I never considered myself a salesperson. And actually, all my experience, my background had nothing to do with sales. Mm-hmm. So it was really difficult for me to feel comfortable with the selling part of the process. And at the beginning, I had to do it by myself. I couldn't hire a salesperson to do all the selling. And that was really, I had a barrier in my mind because I never saw myself as a salesperson. And it was really difficult because I wouldn't feel comfortable selling. I always saw that selling was like bothering people. I was bothering people because I was trying to sell them. So I was really shy and not sure about my speech because I didn't want to bother or upset people. Mm-hmm. So what I did, I took some courses. I did a coaching course focused on sales with the idea of convincing myself that when I was selling, it wasn't that I was bothering people, but actually I was trying to solve a problem, that it was for their benefit, that they needed me.
Yes.
So, but it was a change of perspective. So after that course, after seeing the sales process with a different perspective, I started to feel more comfortable. And every time I have a chance of expressing and telling people and companies what was our solutions, it was so much easier. The process was more powerful. The message I was delivering was it had more credibility. So it was easier, and I started to actually be able to deal with that part. So this, I believe, is a part that is very important to overcome and to believe that you can sell.
Right. Now, you mentioned a challenge or a mental barrier that a lot of entrepreneurs experience. Now, does it feel like more of a natural part of what it is that you do, or the conversation as you're engaging with people?
Yeah, I mean, actually, right now I can easily talk. I understand my business in a deeper way. Mm-hmm. Now, it's a matter of, it's a learning process.
Okay.
Because at the beginning, I also didn't understand a lot about my client. I really couldn't define my buyer persona.
Okay.
So in the process, when I started gaining some experience after 1 or 2 years, I started to understand what were the real needs and the fears and the problem that my buyer persona were having.
Okay.
So after I could understand a little bit more what were the concerns and their needs, it was easier for me to anticipate their needs and be able to deliver a speech that was easier for them to understand and was exactly it was a solution for the problems. I became a solution of what they were looking for and in the whole process. So yeah, nowadays, whenever I have the chance of talking to somebody, I can easily connect with their needs and express exactly what we do and how we do it, especially because I'm selling a service. It's not something that you can touch and you can see. You're selling trust in a way. I mean, they need to trust you. And at the very beginning, it was 8 years ago. I was younger than today. So when you're selling some consulting services, some training services, and they see you as a young person, especially in Latin America, perhaps, it might be, they might have some concerns. So of course, at the beginning, you'll face some other barrier because if you don't have so much experience with other clients, they cannot reference you. But nowadays, it's different because I have my clients, people can recommend me. I mean, they know my work, and I look a little bit older. So,
so what did you do to build that trust? Because I think that's it's a big question that a lot of business owners have when they're starting out. Even when people are trying to get a job, people want people with experience, but how do you get the experience whenever you're just starting out, right? So what did you do to build trust, and is that different from what you do now?
well, I did many different things. Some of them I keep doing them.
Okay.
But I need to. When I thought of when I delivered, I created my marketing strategy. I knew I needed to build an image, not only of myself but also about the company. Mm-hmm. So in the first place, what I created was a name of a company that was above myself. Mm-hmm. What was selling, it wasn't my name, Marcelo. It was my company. So it had an institution, like a concept that it was not only me, even though at the beginning it was only me. But the strategy was to create this name, like at a website, a very professional website that transmits trust, that it was just, everything was clear and so on. So this was part of my strategy. But apart from that, I needed to become a subject matter expert and show that. So every week, and still doing this every week, I publish a new article in our blog, focus on different problematics, challenges that company face in terms of cross-cultural agility and intelligence. So this gives me also the possibility of, look, nowadays I have written more than 400 articles. I know about the topic. I'm reading and preparing myself all the time. Mm-hmm. And also, I deliver a few webinars, which is a good way to showcase yourself, because it's free. I mean, there are some free platforms, and you can invite anybody. It's only for an hour. Anybody can join, and in that way, you can show and express what you know about a topic, and people start actually listening to you and start trusting and start hearing that you know and stuff like that. So this was also part of the strategy. And at the beginning, I offered for those clients that would kind of hesitating about hiring me or not, I offer them free demos. So I say, okay, don't buy the whole workshop. Let's do it 1 hour intro talk. Mm-hmm. You invite up to 6 people, the decision makers, and I'm gonna make you a small example of a workshop. Okay. So you can taste it. And a few of them took them, and it was easier for them to start seeing me in action, and not only selling, but also in delivering them our product. And in that way, it was easier for them to start believing on me.
Very good, very strategic, very smart. But it's obviously worked. I mean, 8 years is a long time to be in business, so that's good. All right, so let's transition a little bit to your habits. I know that you are a very organized person. I'm in awe sometimes of like the organization that you have. So tell me a little bit about the habits that you have that enable you to keep it all together as you're working to build and grow and manage your clients and execute your vision for the future.
Well, I have a few habits. Something that I don't really like, and it's part why I became an entrepreneur, is that I don't like routines. Okay. So in a way, even though I have some habits, I like the fact that every day is different to the other, and I travel a lot, so I all the time changing and pushing myself to out of my comfort zone and doing something different. Mm-hmm. But even though whatever it's the case, even though I'm traveling or not, I always try to practice some sports. I believe this is important for me, especially when you are stressed or you are overloaded and stuff like that. I believe it's important that at least 3 or 4 times a week I do something, whether it is to go for a run, pick up the bike and start biking around, especially on the weekends, or play soccer or football with my friends, or simple going to yoga. This is something that at least 4 days during the week I try to practice because I think it's healthy. Other thing that I have developed in the last few years that nowadays is also a habit is I try to keep myself in a healthy environment. So I became very conscious about my eating habits. What do I eat? I became a vegetarian. It's been 3 years now. So I'm also spend some time in the kitchen cooking something new or disconnecting for a while and trying to do something healthy, not only eating fast food or something like that, but actually taking care of myself because it's not only the business. Sometimes you get in a stressful moment that it's important to find some way of disconnecting. And also, as my job implies a lot of traveling, I like traveling. So this is also a chance to meet people, meet my friends whenever I'm in different cities and hang out, going out for a beer or something like that.
Right. Now, I know you are also a head of an organization that's all about diversity. CETAR, am I saying that correctly? CETAR?
Yes,
CETAR.
CETAR.
Now, what role did that play for you? You've been involved with the organization now. I believe you're the president now. So what would you say that role has played in your overall strategy to being a thought leader?
We have two different roles. Actually, the first one is really related to Iceberg, because being part of CETARS connects me to a global organizations where other cross-cultural trainees all over the world are connected. So the fact that I'm visible in an organization and I take part of this organization makes me visible whenever there is a chance of collaborating with colleagues all over the world. So one of them is visibility. The fact that whenever they need somebody in Argentina, they will connect CETAR, and I have the chance of actually being there. The second part is it has a more social perspective, because I love what I do, but it's still a business, and as a business, it has even though we have a mission and stuff like that, it's a business. We need to sell and we need to make money, otherwise it doesn't work.
Right.
Which is good, but I also like to have this sense of social responsibility of connecting or doing something that not necessarily implies a direct benefit for myself in economic terms.
Okay.
So I believe that theater is a good platform to actually raise awareness in the society about the influence of the difference and different culture, different perspective, and so on. I don't know, start raising awareness, start educating, start connecting and reaching a wider group of people. So this is the second reason why I'm theater.
Very good, very good. What would you say are your 3 keys to success?
The 3 keys to success in what? As an entrepreneur or as a what?
As an entrepreneur.
As an entrepreneur, I believe that the first one is to know yourself, because if you are actually doing something that is not really satisfying or making you happy, but you're doing something because something else or some other pressure and so on, you will never be totally satisfied of what you're doing. And really knowing yourself, what are your passions, what are your goals, and stuff like that is important. Otherwise, what is the point of everything? So I believe that the successful entrepreneurs, in a way, they really know themselves. They have discovered the passion. And another key is that the passion can never be making money. Your passion needs to be something else. I mean, the money is the medium for something else. So you need to know what is that something else. If it's only money, it is an empty goal. It is an empty passion, from my point of view, of course. And eventually it will translate into your business sense, and people will realize that. Then you need to have a higher purpose. And that's, if you know what is that purpose, it will be easier to actually show your enthusiasm, your energy in the project. And the third, perhaps the third key is to be patient, because it takes some. I mean, you will be some difficult moments. Sometimes you will do well. Sometimes you will need to deal with failure, and you need to be strong and sure of what you're looking for, and have the energy to go through those difficult moments. And if you have a network, especially it's important to have support system for those moments that you're really not in the best shape or totally confident. It's important to have, even though they're not part of the project, they're there to support you, and they can actually help you through the difficult moment. I believe with those three keys are important. There might be many other, of course.
I like them. But yeah, they're all related, but super important. And not necessarily always the things that you initially think about when it comes to being successful in business, but it's those intangible sort of things that make a big difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. What can we expect to see from you in the future?
This is a very good question. I would like somebody to answer that. But I'm also discovering myself, and every person is changing all the time. So that's why it's important to see perhaps what is motivating you today won't be motivating you in the future. So you need to permanently keep on looking at yourself to really know what you're looking for. Another passion that I found is that I really like teaching. And I believe that I actually would like to connect with universities in Latin America to start developing programs for masters, for undergraduate programs, so that they start developing global skills, global intelligence in the students, in the university students from the very beginning. So I guess, and in order to be a professor in a university, if you have some postgraduate degrees or something like that support your knowledge, it's easier. So I believe that I might take a few next steps in that area to see if I can actually connect that passion with some business activity or professional activity. And also I like to see in which other ways I can connect with a more social sense, to have a wider and a more deep impact in the social sense, to try to raise awareness in other settings. Perhaps theater is a good channel for that, or perhaps other things. So I don't know yet what it will be.
Okay, but lots of good things, it sounds like, on the horizon. Where can people find you?
They can check our website, which is icebergci.com, or if you just look for me in LinkedIn, Marcelo Baudino, they would easily find me. I'm happy to connect with anybody that would like to exchange ideas or just connect in the website.
Sure, and I'll have all that information in the show notes so people can find you easily. All right, well, before I let you go, I do have one last question just to dig inside your mind a little more, and that's to deliver a line from a movie that speaks to you and explain why you chose that one.
Well, there is one, the one phrase I believe it's really powerful. The movie is not the best movie ever. It's acceptable, especially if you are in this kind of weird, kind of romantic movies. Have you ever seen Vanilla Sky?
I have not, but I've heard about it. And I like those kind of movies.
There is a phrase that it says, every passing minute is another chance to turn it all around.
I like it.
I believe it's really nice and connected to the history of the movie. It's a nice phrase. Besides, it gives you this sense that you are in charge of your destiny, of your life, and every moment. I mean, you need to be aware, conscious, because every moment is a possibility to change it all around and to start over again, or to change what you don't like and to have a new horizon in the future. So I believe it's powerful in that sense.
It is. I love it. And now I feel like I need to go check out Vanilla Sky. Well, Marcelo, this has been a whole lot of fun. Thank you so much for stopping by and sharing your experiences with us. It's been really cool.
Well, I'm happy to. I thank you for inviting me. It was really nice to talk to you. Well, thank you.